So abundance versus scarcity. So scarcity says, what's the smallest percentage I can pay and get people to play? And tell the truth, if you've ever done a JV, how many of you ever had that conversation with either yourself or your team? It's like, well, I don't know, you think we could get them to actually mail for 30%? Or do you think we have to like pony up to like 40%? Tell the truth, who's had that conversation? Honest to goodness, I have too. And then I caught myself, and it's like, don't be a dumbass. That's a very different grounding about how we're going to treat our JV partners than how could I pay them more than they have ever earned as an affiliate? Think that through for a moment. What would the difference be between sending an unsolicited email like, hey, sell my dumb shit to your people, please, even though I don't know who you are, or, Alex, if I helped you build that list, and it actually matched up perfectly with my JVology brand, or my Creators Code brand, or my Mastermind to Millions brand, and you really got behind it, and I really got behind you, and I could send you $5,000 a month without you having to do too much about it, would that be worth your while? Now, what if that became the motive, is that I get to actually work with people that I love and care about, I get to actually serve people at a deep and meaningful level, and I get to have this idea of I want them to what? Earn a lot. I want them to win. I want it to be valuable for them. I want for them to get an email from me and for them to think they won the effing lottery. Not that it's a bunch of stupid spam shit. Do you understand the distinction there? So we've got to start wrapping our head and heart around, if we're really coming from a space of abundance, then we want our partners to win. Now, please understand this. In the same breath as you've also got to come up with a campaign that they win and you win. Because it's also possible to go the other direction. But it's got to be fair for everyone. Just another way to think about this in terms of putting that together is, when we're talking about our partners, what would be an amazing contribution versus what is the most I can get for the least input? This is one of the things that sometimes bugs me about sort of traditional business school. It's like, how do we manage the inputs to just put the least? And it's like, that thinking, I think, is flawed, particularly in this model. Now, might you need to really manage those costs as a manufacturer? Hell yes. But let's be clear about this. As a JV partner and in this JV world, we are not manufacturing, trusses for a house. What we're doing is we are developing what? Relationships. Do you think that I would be with my lovely wife of 30 years if I tried to mitigate? It's like, what's the least I could get her? Oh, maybe if I drive by and wave, maybe that would suffice. Maybe if I send her a really super good card and get my assistant to send her roses, that'll probably work out. Do you understand what I'm saying? These are real people with real relationships, with lists of real people that they have real relationships with. So we need to respect that and come from a space of contribution as opposed to lack, scarcity, fear, all the bullshit that goes along with many things. Is this making sense to you? Okay, so tell me first and foremost, as you think about creating JV partners, what does this mean to you? Give me some feedback. What are you hearing? What are you thinking? Really loud?
Look for the win-win.
Look for the win-win. Hell yes.
What can I do for you?
What can I do for you? Okay.
Give first and then receive.
Give first and then receive. We're on the right track, please.
What do they really need?
Hallelujah. Which, by the way, say that really, really loud, please.
What do they need?
What do they need? How many of you have kept yourself out of the JV game because it's like, oh, my list isn't big enough yet? Raise your hand. Okay, so I want to just be very, Saskatchewan and call bullshit. Your list size is not what is most important. It is answering this question. What do they want? What is significant and important to them? And I'm going to give you a bunch of examples momentarily, but it does not have to necessarily have anything to do with your list. In fact, some of the best JVs I have aren't reciprocal mailings. You understand what that means? It means that I will mail for them, they will mail for me, but it doesn't necessarily happen at the same time or because it's a reciprocation. Or sometimes they just mail for me and I do something else for them. Or I just mail for them and they do something else for me. Make sense? Okay. So let's talk about this in a couple of different ways here. I don't want to beat this to death, but we've already talked about most of that. One of the things that I'm going to suggest to you is this. Most of us, and I mean us as humanity, is in self-deceit about the significance of how deeply embedded this is. Particularly if you've done a little bit of personal development work. Anybody ever done a little personal development work? So you took a course, you read a book, you meditate, you're a yoga Nazi or whatever it is. Okay, so I'm being obviously a little bit facetious about this, but here would be my invitation, and it's a very serious invitation, which is this. If there was one thing that could shift your life everywhere in a more powerful manner than JVs or making a little money or any of that shit, it would be this. It would be to shift your life from being motivated from fear, scarcity, and lack, which is a moving away motivation, to shift your life to be motivated by contribution, love, and meaning. And if that shift transpired, guess what? The tumblers in the lock of the universe unfold, and anything, anyone, any experience will roll out for you. I give you my word.